Hi, everybody. I just wanted to jump on a quick live today and talk to you about making excuses because we are all very, very good at making excuses for other people. And especially when those people let us down or hurt us, whether it be emotionally, physically, sorry, cat walking past, cat bombing. And we're very, very good at making excuses for people when they're hurting us, when they're letting us down, when they are not doing what they say they're going to do, when they are deliberately sabotaging the things that we're trying to do that are going to help us make life easier for ourselves and for everybody else. And one of the reasons that we do that is because we are afraid of judgment. So we don't want other people to see us as weak. We don't want other people to see us as feeble, defenseless, taken advantage of. And we don't want people to think badly of the people that let us down. So we don't want people to judge us or to judge the people that we love or that we think we love. And sometimes that's really tough. Sometimes that's really hard to actually accept that we are holding on to this illusion that everything is great. Do you want to be in it? There we go. You can be in it too. We're holding on to this illusion that everything is great. And we think that we're projecting this illusion of some fantastic life to everybody else, when in reality, behind closed doors, it's such a different picture. And we have to ask, who are we protecting? Are we protecting them or are we protecting ourselves? And we I'm not saying this to victim shame at all, victim blame or anything like that. But when we protect them, we are giving them permission to keep doing what they're doing that is hurting us, and we are giving them a green light to carry on doing it. And we're giving them the message that basically whatever they do, then we'll just make excuses for them and they'll get away with it, because that's what we've allowed to happen. Now, we allow that to happen for a variety of reasons, because we could be scared of consequences of standing up to them. We could be scared of retribution. We could be scared of consequences. We could be scared of further, even worse abuse. We could be scared of people finding out what they're really like and making them be held accountable for what's happening. So we may be trying to hide it from our family and friends if we're still allowed to be in contact with them. And we are scared that if the police come along, that they'll be taken away and they'll be sent to jail, and we don't want their children to lose their father. And it gets very complicated very, very quickly. And one of the biggest lessons that I learned after the event, because when my marriage fell apart, basically it was a bit massive, kind of like big deal. And I was assaulted, and I was assaulted while I was holding my son's hand. So my 3-year-old witnessed what happened to me. And then his father took him hostage in the back garden and used him, a chainsaw and a pickaxe handle, as weapons of choice, along with an 8-stone German Shepherd dog, to ward off the police and to prevent himself being arrested. So he was using him as a hostage / human shield, which is great. And they had riot police on standby. They had the dog handler round the corner waiting to come in and set the police dog on our dog to kind of, get rid of that danger. Because, when you've got an 8-stone German Shepherd, they're quite an intimidating kind of feature and weapon, if you like. And the house was full of police. They closed the road off. Like I say, they had riot police on standby. It made the local paper. It was a massive big deal. And I was devastated, because not only was I ashamed and embarrassed. I didn't want my son's father to be in trouble. I didn't want my son's father to go to jail for something that I felt was my fault, even though I'd done nothing wrong. I didn't want my son to be without a father, because I felt that my son's father had been a product of a broken parent relationship. Parents broke up when he was little, and he was kind of shuffled between two places, and he didn't want that for our child. And I had all these reasons going on in my head of why I didn't want the police involved, why I didn't want to talk about it, why I didn't want him punished. And by withholding, I didn't withhold the charges. Because in our area, the police basically take over the prosecution. You don't get choice as to whether or not they're prosecuted. You can't withdraw your statement and then they don't get charged. It doesn't work that way. And my son's father, my ex, was basically facing up to 5 years in jail for what he'd done. So it was reasonably serious, and I really just was so ashamed and embarrassed. I did not want other people to know. I didn't want other people to think that I was some kind of, I was a bank manager, for God's sake. I was a senior person in my field, and I was respected everywhere I went. And then I did not want to have to admit what was going on within my own home. And my reluctance to admit it, my reluctance to deal with it, my reluctance to hold somebody else accountable for their behavior led to that person continuing to manipulate and abuse me for years and years, even after the divorce, years and years and years. And I think the lesson that I learned was that had I held him accountable at the time, had I held him accountable when he first started hurting me, none of it would have ever happened, because I would have left him many, 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 many years before. But I didn't. I allowed him to continue, and the more I allowed it to continue, the worse it got, and the worse it got, the harder it got to kind of contain, until we ended up with that massive, big kind of police incident. But I can't regret any of it, because without it, I wouldn't have my son. Without what happened, I wouldn't have my son. Without what happened, I wouldn't be doing what I do today. Without what happened, I wouldn't be the person that I have become. So I can't begrudge it. I can't resent it. I can't wish it hadn't happened, because if it hadn't happened, then I wouldn't be helping you guys. So how can I begrudge that? How can I regret that? If it hadn't happened, I wouldn't have my son. How can I regret that? How can I begrudge that? I worked to the theory that my son deserved a father, and I wasn't going to stand in the way of their relationship, because it was not my son's fault what happened, and he deserved to be able to have a relationship with his dad, regardless of how awful a husband he was. I knew that he did love his son. He might have very weird ways of showing it sometimes, but that was down to my son to decide when he was old enough whether or not he wished to continue that relationship, and that is between them. That is nothing to do with me. But I think part and parcel of what happened gave me the closeness that I have with my son today. I think one of the byproducts of what happened made me the person that I am today. And I don't begrudge that at all. I have a great life. I have love and laughter and happiness in my life, and I get to help other women to find that same love and laughter and happiness in their lives. And that is something that absolutely fills my happy bucket completely and utterly. So I started this off by saying, why do we make excuses for them, or making excuses for them, and kind of like waffled and gone off track a little bit. But what I would say to anybody that that is currently in that situation where they are making excuses for somebody hurting them is that what you're allowing them to do is to escalate and get worse as time goes on. Because if you don't take a stand for yourself, who is going to? And regardless of whatever legal consequences happen, that is not your fault. If they choose to behave in such a way as they're breaking the law, that is their choice, not yours. Their choice. And we can make excuses until the cows come home, but it's just like making excuses for a toddler and they'll never correct their behavior. So if you never correct their behavior, they will continue doing that behavior and they will get worse, and it will escalate. And it's men and women that do it. It's men and women that behave this way. And it really is a case of you get what you accept. So if you don't want to live that life that you are living right now, then you have some choices to make. So if you don't want to live, if your life right now is filled with misery, pain, violence, nastiness, just, the joy has just been sucked out of your life, then maybe it's time to start looking at what you do want from your life. Maybe it's time to start looking at making a safe exit plan. Maybe it's time to start making plans to escape the life that you're living if it's not making you happy. But we have to make sure that you do that in the right way so that you don't expose yourself to any more risk than you have to. And safe exit planning is something that I have covered in a different live that obviously you can look back over, but contact me, contact Women's Support, contact domestic violence services in your area. There is always help available for those that ask, always. And that help might not even be in the same country that you are in, but help is help, and help can be mobilized regardless of area. There's always support available. And I think the important thing here is to remember that you are never alone. So there are always people that are willing to help you if you are willing to accept the help. So I just want to try and save some of you some of the painful stuff that I went through, not just physically, but emotionally as well. And, the Christmas parties that you get dragged away from because they're overreacting over something that somebody said, or you're getting harassed with non-stop phone calls and text messages saying, where are you? How long are you going to be? How long is it before you come home? And it just continuous. The walking home, the walking in the front door and not knowing what you're going to be faced with, whether they're going to have had a good day or a bad day. And depending on how their day has gone, depends on how your day is going to turn out in the end. So yeah, there's lots of things there that we make excuses for, but you don't have to just keep taking it, is what I'm trying to say. You don't have to just keep taking it. You can take a stand. If you are afraid to take a stand, then maybe we need to look at some different strategies for you, and that's fine. We can do that, not a problem. Anyway, have a wonderful day. And if you need to get hold of me, I have put my website in the comments. You can contact me on Facebook. You can contact me on, send me a message, put a comment on here on YouTube, and I'll pick it up. Send me a comment through the Facebook page, through Messenger. I'll get it. Through the website, I'll get it. There's lots of ways to find me. So I will speak to you all soon. Have a wonderful day and enjoy your week.